Hello, everybody. This is episode 7 of the Stronghold podcast. I'm here with Matt Pellino. He's worked in Hong Kong. He's worked in Singapore. He's worked in Malaysia. He's a guy who's been teaching MMA all throughout Southeast Asia. So welcome to the podcast, man.
Luke, what is up, my man? Thank you for having me.
It's cool, man. We were just talking about how when we were both working at Clinch in Malaysia. Shout out to Clinch. It's not open anymore, but fucking cool people. Shout out to everybody that trained at Clinch.
Yeah.
I've been talking about opening up and starting the podcast for a while now.
Yeah.
And finally did the damn thing. I've been talking about it for years. I never knew if I was going to get it done, so I'm happy to finally have you here and get the damn thing going.
Yeah, it was crazy. It would be like at night, like just coming back from class, you're like, man, we need to do a podcast. I'm going to do a podcast. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, oh, man. Then I disappeared. Then you disappeared. I'm like, oh. And then, boom, I ran into you last weekend at the SFC. And
yeah, by the way, you did a good job at that, man. You did the commentary and you were doing the ring announcing.
Yeah, the commentary was a bit off. It's for me, it's always hard to like not say bias when my fighters are fighting. So like I know it can get a bit bad sometimes, but it was like a fun show. I help Arvin out with it, so I wasn't like it's not like I was getting paid any like big money to do it. So it lacked a little bit of unprofessionalism, but. The ring announcing I thought was
you were really good at the ring. I didn't hear any of the commentary, so I can't speak specifically for that. But I find myself I was judging while you were doing the commentary and stuff, and even as it's happening, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like coaching from the side, and I'm like, I definitely should not be coaching these people while I'm judging.
It's so hard. Like people don't realize, like anyone who works in the fight game who does that kind of work, like offset work, that's commentary, ring announcing. It's a hard job. You gotta. Like interview the fighters beforehand. You got to know what they're doing. You got to know what they're like about and stuff. And it's easy to just go, oh, I can
even just saying the names right.
Right? Yeah, and just having a story to go on. It's like it's easy to say, oh, I can do fight commentary, and you have no background information on the guys while they're fighting. Then it sounds really dead and flat. You need to really dig in and divulge. So like,
did they give you any information like beyond the names in the gyms or anything like that?
The thing is they all did the weigh-in at Juggernaut. So I went around with like a piece of pen and paper and just got some key things like how long this guy's been fighting, fighting. Any interesting facts are always fun to throw out there. Like, this guy comes from a family of 22. Like this kind of stuff. People are like, wow. You want to sell a story to the people who are listening. So
yeah, a narrative is really important, especially from 100%. The commentary perspective, because you're just having people go up there and fight. If you can create a sort of narrative that the individual who's watching can get wound up in, it will increase the enjoyment across the board for everybody.
Well, yeah, that, and it's also just like, thank God there's an actual event in Singapore besides ONE FC.
Yeah.
Just in general in Southeast Asia. Like the market compared to when I first came here is it's all moved to amateur. There's no really avenues for professional MMA guys to fight. So shout out to like Arvin for throwing in a couple MMA fights there. But I mean, when I first came out here, there were so many shows. MFC was bringing a lot of pro guys in. Like Leke fought on MFC. Andrew Leone fought on MFC. My friend Luke Russo fought on MFC. And it was like Malaysia Fighting Championships. And now they're doing like 1 or 2 pro fights, but back then it was full pro. It was in like a bar, and they put like the cage. It was, I don't know, maybe
what bar was it at? You remember?
Man, I know Ultimate Beatdown, when they first had like their show outside the gym, it was like the Bali Bistro, and right on the corner of JB, like right before you go in JB. It was awesome. And I think I want to say it's called Timeout. I think is what it was called in KL. But yeah, MFC was like, when I first got here, it was like nuts. Because when I first got to Malaysia, they were doing their third ONE FC show. Now they're on 100.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting to see like just the diversity of the fighters that they had when they first came out. They had Babalu Sobral on the card. Roger Huerta was on the card. And there was like a large international talent and then like very few local talent. And then there was like that midpoint where ONE FC kind of was like, man, let's focus on like the local guys and stuff.
Yeah.
So they went that whole route. And yeah, it's just been a good journey being here in Asia. I love being here. The people are nice. Shout out to Southeast Asians everywhere, I guess. It's a good dynamic. I love living here. It's cool.
Yeah, well, I think we both sort of arrived here right as the scene started to develop, because if I think I've been here for 7 years now. I think I came here in 2012 or 11. something like that. And since then, I mean, the scene's just blown up. When I came here, there were maybe 4 or 5 gyms. Now there's gyms on fucking every block. So to see someone like SFC, I was also there for the first show because Ron fought for the lightweight title when the SFC won, and I was coaching him for that. To even see how the venue's gotten so much better. I mean, the first one was in like a gymnasium, I think.
Yeah.
And then this one, like they have the big screen in the back. The venue's fucking amazing. I wish they could get more locals fighting. I wish they could get... It's really hard when you take international talent to match up the skill level evenly. And I think that's sort of the issue, specifically with the MMA, because in the Muay Thai and the boxing, that level's high, and you can see it when you watch the fights. But with the MMA, there's some talent disparity that takes away from the quality of the matchups, I think.
I couldn't agree like more with you. Like they
pull that thing right up there, right?
They need to fight, you know. But the thing is, getting Singaporeans to fight is so difficult.
Yeah.
And when they do sign them up to fight, they pull out. So it's like, man, nowadays amateur fighters, I need an 8-week camp to fight an amateur MMA fight. It's just like, if I could give any advice, man, just fight. If you get the opportunity to fight as an amateur, fight. Because once you go pro, that shit doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, man. And then the other thing is like compensation. Like Mima kind of just fucked everyone. They paid real good money to amateur MMA fighters for fighting in the show. And like Mima was a great thing, and like I don't harsh on it, but like people are expecting to get paid as an amateur athlete, and that's just horse shit. Like,
yeah,
man, in the U.S., when you were fighting professional, your first 2 or 3 pro fights, you got like $100 in ticket
$100
sales.
Yeah,
and that's what you got. And now like you get these guys who are just like silver spoon, like, I need 8 weeks camp to fight. Who's my opponent? Da da da. Man, in Asia, at the Southeast Asian level, there shouldn't be an opponent, in my opinion, with the exception of like when Keanu Suba was fighting, that is so much further beyond the competition level that you should be scared to fight them.
Yeah.
I think everyone is pretty like even or equal. And if you've been an amateur MMA fighter for 5 years and you have a purple belt or a brown belt in BJJ or even like a blue belt, man, take the fight, sign the dotted line and like fight. I help run Octagon Asia in Penang, and they pay people too.
For amateur fights?
They pay. So like, man, I think now in the quarterfinals, if you win, you get like 500 Sing dollar, which is amazing.
For amateur? Fuck yeah, that's really good.
So you get 1,500 ringgit, which is 1 to 3. So yeah. And I'm just like getting Singaporeans to fight because there's that like border rivalry camaraderie thing. I want to match Singapore versus Malaysia. I like to see where they're at. And I just can't get any Singaporeans to fight. They just don't want to fight. So back to your point, it's just like, yeah, I would love to see more local talent, but the local talent's got to step up and take fights.
Yeah.
Like, man, don't tell me, I need 8 weeks to fight. I'm like, man, you're gonna fight in a tournament breakdown. You're gonna fight 4 times in 4 months, like,
which is what they do at Mima.
Yeah, you expect like 8 weeks for like each fight? Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah,
bro, you're wearing 7-ounce gloves and shin pads.
Yeah.
Get the experience.
And the referees stop the fights early. They don't let people take too much damage.
Safety is the number one priority
for amateur fighting.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants to see an amateur fighter like go out on his shield.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, and and it's just like, for me, I have to pick bone and tooth to get anyone from Singapore to fight. So as I agree with your point, just getting people to fight is hard, and it's weird because like I know SFC catches slack sometimes because it's like, there's Singaporean fighters from Juggernaut fighting on the card. And what people don't realize is, like, I help Arvin matchmake. And it had nothing to do with, like, Juggernaut fighters getting put on the card. I can't get anyone from any fucking gym to fight.
I even mentioned in the last podcast that I would have liked to have seen more local fighters, thinking that, like, they just aren't matching them up, or it's mostly Juggernaut people, but you just can't find the talent, is it?
No one wants to fight. No one wants to fight, or they want to fight for an unridiculous amount of money. If you're an MMA fighter and you want to say, okay, I'm fighting professionally, or let's just say we're fighting amateur. If you're selling tickets for $45 and you get an X amount from that ticket sale, and like you make no effort as an amateur athlete locally to bring anyone to watch fight, why am I going to make the effort to give you a slot on the card?
Yeah.
And then
you need to bring something to the show.
Yeah, I mean, or
if you want to get paid anyway.
Exactly. Like if you're not if you're not hassling me for like money and extra benefits and all this kind of stuff, and you're just down to scrap, I love that. Like that's awesome as well. But man, it's like Diva Central here, bro. It's dealing with a bunch of prima donnas, and it's just like I don't know, man. It's crazy. And the BJJ community here is growing as well. But, like, man, the BJJ community is also, it's got their own dramas and things like that. You would know more than me. You're a BJJ guy. But it's crazy, man.
Well, this is one of those, adversity tends to breed those people that like to fight, right? And the thing is, like, the quality of life in Singapore is so high. For the people to do that, it's like, what are you going to go get your brains bashed in for? What are you going to go get a fight? Some people just have that drive in them where they want to go compete. But if the lifestyle here is quite cushy and you're feeling good, most people here train as a hobby or as a lifestyle rather than want to be competitors. And if they do want to compete, they tend to lean toward non-striking stuff like jiu-jitsu or wrestling or grappling or whatever. And I think that's sort of what's going on. It's like people don't need to fight here. If you grow up in America, like especially think of like boxers in the 80s and the 70s in America, living in Philly or Baltimore, like those people are fighting to get out of something,
yes,
right?
100%.
Or even like think of the big fighters in MMA now, the people from like Kazakhstan and Dagestan and all of those steppe countries, Russians and shit, like they're fighting for life.
There. Yeah, there's nothing there.
So that's their way out. And so nothing will motivate you like poverty, right, to get out and to fight for your survival. And I think in Singapore, it's just much more lifestyle, so getting the locals to sign on the dotted line for no money is probably a tall order.
Yeah, and it's just like, and there's always something to fucking complain about. Man, always, man. Okay, so like we had this guy from Impact fight, and he missed weight, so we deducted him a point. So I do this for fights in my card. Like, if you miss weight, you one round, you're even. Mm. So the most you can get, unless you 10-8 that fucker, is a 9-9.
Yeah, so you're already on a...
Yes, and I believe this is the proper thing at amateur.
Because you can't deduct money.
Well, I'm not going to deduct his purse sales. Like the people are coming to see him fight. I don't want to deduct his ticket sales. This kid missed weight by 2 kilos, didn't want to try and cut the weight at all, said, oh, okay, whatever. Ended up losing the fight because of that deduction. And then goes online and is like, oh, everyone said I won the fight. Bro, you lost the fight. Your hand didn't get raised. You lost the fight.
Yeah, your first job is to make weight.
Yeah,
before the fight even starts, that's your first job.
Bro, trust me, I've missed weight for a fight before. Like, not as much as my friend Jack Starr said I missed to the media, but I did miss weight. And it's a horrible feeling to win a fight when missing weight. So, like, when I fought on the cruise ship, I was supposed to fight Nick Harris. And we were fighting at 85 kilos. This fucker Haswandi, whoever said, was like, oh, I was 10 kilos overweight. I was never 10 kilos overweight. It's absurd.
10 kilos?
Bro.
Oh, God.
Bro, I was like...
That's fucking too many
I was still like 3.5 over, but they were... Man, everyone's like, oh, this guy's 10 kilos overweight. I'm like, man, whatever. But, like, I've known Nick for a while, and I gave him 100% of my purse. So, at the end of the day, when the fight settled and whatever happened, we both made the same purse amount, and, like, that was my decision. But... He never went on social media and was like, the reason he lost is because of the weight, which makes sense.
He didn't make excuses.
No, he didn't make an excuse, which I respect the hell out of him for. And that's the other thing is like, man, if you lose a fight and you missed weight, just shut the fuck up. Like, don't sit there and make an excuse. You fucking lost, bro. Like,
you lost the first battle, which is the weight cut.
And if you want to, and if you were that confident that you're gonna finish the guy, fucking finish the guy. And, like, I just have issues with this kind of shit. And these are amateurs. These aren't even pros, bro.
I think the issue is, and there's actually been a problem with amateur fighters cutting weight. It's one of those things like, did you wrestle growing up? Did you do any wrestling?
I wrestled for a very long time.
Okay, so you wrestled. I was a wrestler. That was my first discipline. So weight cutting is sort of par for the course. And I think that there's something almost that amateur fighters glamorize about weight cutting because they all imagine there's something that they like to brag about, oh, I cut this much weight. Oh, I did this. I was cornering Ron for, I'm not going to say any names, but I was cornering Ron for a rematch for an MMA fight when he was fighting SFC. And the guy that he was supposed to fight, it was a rematch. He came in like 3 kg overweight. And then we had to decide, well, do we make him cut? Do we take the fight? Do we take the fight without him cutting the weight? So we gave him, I think, a 2 kilo allowance and still take the fight, and he wouldn't do it. He still wouldn't just cut the weight. And it's it was one of those things like this was a rematch. It was supposed to be a big fight, and Ron trained his ass off for it. He made the weight, and the guy didn't even want to put the effort in to cut the weight. And it's just like, and this guy was big, man. He must have been walking around 20 pounds over. And it's like, first of all, and I saw him competing at a jiu-jitsu competition looking huge like 2 weeks before the fight. So it's like he was competing before that when he should have been probably dieting and dealing with his weight and focusing specifically on the weight cut because he was so big. And then you see he didn't make the weight and he wouldn't even put in the effort to finish the weight cut.
Well, and the other thing is like you wrestled and you don't like water load and cut heaps of weight in wrestling. You're like when you're wrestling consistently. It's not like you can water load and cut like 10.
No one's cutting 10 kilos
exactly.
for wrestling.
And
yeah.
and this is the thing. And when my guys are amateurs and they're like, "Oh, coach, this guy's like 1 or 2 kilos over. Should I take the fight?" I'll slap him on the back of the head and yes, of course you're gonna take the fight.
If it's close, no problem. But if the person doesn't even want to put any effort in and they're 3 or 4 kilos over, it's like, bro,
for
at a certain point, it's your fault. Like,
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But it's also like you're in the point where you're competing now. If you don't take you don't take the fight, and that's why I always give a point deduction because that is like a fair thing. If this guy's overweight,
I think that's a good way to deal with it. Actually, the point deduction for amateurs because
then he's got to try and finish.
Yeah.
And this makes not only the fight more exciting, makes the guys work. This is a great way to handle this. But also, it's like, when are you going to get the fight again?
Yeah.
Step up, take the fight. You know, the promoters will know this guy didn't make weight, so they won't have him next time.
Yeah. The issue with Ron, too, was it was a title fight. And if he didn't make weight, it's not a championship fight. So he's fighting a guy who's like 3-something kilos overweight. It's all of a sudden not a title fight, and he didn't want to cut the weight. And it's like, bro.
But he still won the belt, right?
Well, this was before. He won the belt before. Then they were going to do a rematch for the title again, and then he didn't make the weight. Because, like, Thai style is they make you skip, right? It's like you're going to stand there, and you're going to cut the weight, and your punishment is basically being tired for the fight because I'm going to watch you cut the weight.
For sure.
And so we even offered the catch weight, and it's like, so it moved to a non-title fight, which sucked for them. And then we offered a catch weight, and he still didn't want to cut the weight. And it's like, bro, you have to meet us somewhere. You can't come in 7-8 pounds overweight, not be willing to cut any more, forfeit this title fight, and then just expect to.
Yeah.
Because then, and if he
there's got to be some give.
Yeah, like both people have to meet in the middle there. And if he had rehydrated after that,
he still would have been.
He would have been even 15 pounds over.
I'm not even. I have no shame. Was this Nasri?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
So it was. Nasri, you fucker. No.
I can neither confirm nor deny. By the way, Nasri, I'm not throwing shade at you, bro, but because he's still doing the damn thing. He's still fighting. He's coaching. He's
doing
working
sambo
hard.
and stuff, bro.
He just missed the weight cut. Like it happens, but listen, man, it's not fun for him. It wasn't fun for us, and then it is what it is.
But I think he got back on top of it because when he fought Mima, he made weight. So I mean, he had to fight multiple times.
He made weight. I think he fought 4 or 6 weeks before that. He just blew up after a fight, and then he thought he could make the weight.
Man,
and he didn't make the weight.
That's like one of the guys I'd like to see fight more MMA.
He's a beast. He's a beast.
I mean, he's got good striking. Like, I'd like to see him fight more MMA. I know all these guys are doing this sambo stuff and stuff. And at the end of the day, good for them. They're representing their country. But fuck, it's not MMA, bro. Like, dude.
I mean, he should probably go pro pretty soon.
Well, he's pro already.
Is he pro already?
He's pro already.
Oh, good.
He fought in Hong Kong. Unfortunately, dropped that one and just MMA. But he's already professional. And he's but like, okay, he's just, how many other pro MMA fighters are in Singapore?
Not many.
So you got like Nasri, like from Impact.
10 maybe.
Bruce Lowe, he doesn't even fight anymore. And then like the guy that fought in the UFC from Impact. Royston Wheat. Nice guy, really nice guy.
Don't know him, but.
And then you got Evolve, which
they have their guys. Benedict and Amir and.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ben. I think he's in NS. I don't know why he's not fighting now.
Yeah. And then you got some of the ladies too, Tiffany.
Yeah. Major. I mean, he doesn't fight.
Major anymore. Back in the day.
Yeah, but yeah, man, it's like. I mean, even Tiffany was on the shelf for a while with one. Like,
no, I'm gonna bring her on the podcast. I hope. She hasn't agreed to do it, but I asked. She's doing some classes now at New Fit, which is where Ron's at also. And I asked him yesterday because he did the podcast with me most recently. I asked him to talk to her to bring her on because she's just getting iced, man. She beat Michelle Nicolini in that fight, and then all of a sudden she hasn't had a fight since. Michelle's fought Angela Lee since then, and Tiffany's just fucking waiting on the sidelines. And I'm just wondering, like, they iced her after she beat their one of their top draws,
Well, I think Michelle Nicolini was already like not part of Evolve at that point.
Yeah.
But still, like, it's always.
I think then she was, and she left shortly after that.
No, when Tiffany beat her, she had left already.
Oh, she did leave already.
Because There's no way you rep Evolve and you don't wear this stuff in the ring.
That's true.
No chance.
Yeah, that's right.
But
you're definitely right about that.
Actually, she looked good in that fight. She had good takedown defense.
It was a close fight, but then, I mean, especially whenever you consider how Angela's fight went with her. Tiffany's a beast, man. I saw her at some of the competitions. I mean, she's got some broad shoulders. She's strong as shit. She knows how to wrestle, which is huge. She's not just, typically in Singapore, you see even like Angela style, right? There's a lot of jiu-jitsu, and then they have like that Muay Thai style. But Tiffany has a more classical MMA style where she's like a wrestle boxer, which I think tends to translate better.
Well, yeah.
Generally.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's kind of
pull that
like,
thing right up, dude. I'm worried you're not gonna.
That's kind of like the thing with. I mean, we talk about ONE FC. Look at Jing Nan fighting Angela Lee. Angela Lee's takedowns are not from distance. She doesn't shoot. She doesn't. Yeah. She clinches against the cage and goes. But if you have good footwork and you can outbox from those positions and get off the cage, how's she gonna take you down?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that rebooking. I was talking about it on the last podcast. We were talking a little bit about the ONE Championship Matchmaking, which at some times can be a little suspect, especially for the Evolve people, because it's again Chatri owns ONE and he owns Evolve, and so there's going to be some conflict of interest there. They're getting way better compared to 5 years ago. What they would do, it's gotten way better. But I think they rebooked this fight too early. Angela showed a lot of. I mean, first of all, I should say the Lees are definitely two of the best prospects in MMA. They're both young. They're fucking fierce, dude. Say what you want about some losses and stuff like that, and some questionable rebooking of fights, but they are tough as shit. They do not give a fuck. They'll fight anybody. But I wish they would have given her a little bit more time to develop this skill set, because on the feet, she couldn't back panda up. She was walking her down. She was throwing hard shots, and she doesn't have the wrestling skills yet.
Yeah. She doesn't shoot.
She doesn't shoot.
You cannot, and that's the thing is like
she's scrambly, but
yes,
she can't.
But from the ground.
Yeah.
Not from neutral.
Exactly.
And that was the thing is like, man, shout out to Bali MMA, my boy Gianni Suba, who helped train like Jing Nan for that fight. And
did they?
So
I met both the Subas. They trained at Clinch and stuff.
Aren't they like the best
They're
people?
so fucking awesome, man.
Are they like the most awesome people you'll ever meet?
I had a really kind of shitty experience with Keanu once, and it was my fault. I went to Clinch like 3 months before I started working there. Ahmed was like, "Hey, come down. You'll meet everybody." And I was kind of like talking to them and seeing everything, because I knew I was having issues with Trifecta. And so I go down. I was planning on not training that day, right? Yeah. So I'm fucking wasted, right? I'm drinking all day because I'm on holiday and I'm going to Clinch. I told everybody I wasn't going to train that day. Yeah. I told Ahmed. And then Ahmed's like, dude, just come in. You don't have to do anything. So I'm drunk, and I go in. And then Ahmed's like, dude, Keanu's here. Go roll with him. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking wasted right now. I'm not going to go roll with him. He's like, just go roll with him for a few minutes. So I go roll with him.
Ahmed, you go roll with him.
I'm stinking of alcohol, dude. I'm sure I'm like breathing in his face, and he's probably thinks I'm fucking disgusting, like rolling with him and shit. And I can't do anything because I'm like wasted, and I'm sweating, just smelling like booze. And that was the first time I ever trained with him, and I was like, it's probably not a good example of my skill set.
Those two brothers are like they're
so humble.
Well, just like the best people you'll ever meet in the world. Like this family will accept you as the family. Like they're not even like, to me, they're family. Like, and Gianni, who hasn't been able to fight, unfortunately, he was in the Flyweight Grand Prix.
Now he's doing the commentary, right?
Well, yeah. And like ONE should rebook him soon, I think.
Is he still? I thought he was kind of maybe thinking he was done.
He had a medical issue. Like, I don't really need to divulge about, but
sure.
I think he'll be fighting soon again. And then Keanu got Anderson Silva.
I didn't see that, man.
Oh man, he looked so good. Like, man, the only way that guy was winning.
To just the listeners, because this is audio and video too. Yeah. He had a shin break.
Anderson Silva, he threw an inside leg kick and it just snapped.
Inside leg kick is dangerous.
Yeah, man.
I know. One is pretty sketchy about that shit. I heard about the leg break. I didn't see it, and then I tried to go back and look at it online. They had swiped. They deleted all the footage of him. What? The warrior spirit and all.
Yeah.
they deleted all of the fucking video of him doing it, and then. But that was really, really sad. That is one of the most devastating injuries that you can get.
And he's just getting back into doing BJJ.
I saw he got cleared like last week or something to train.
But he's so young. And like the thing with Keanu
and I rolled with him later. He's a fucking beast, man. He's a fucking beast.
Bro,
good skilled jiu-jitsu. He's really wiry and he's really smooth and
he's strong. Like
strong for his size. Yeah. He's strong as shit.
When he grabs you, you're kind of just like, man, this little Malaysian kid is strong,
Dude, that old team of guys, for the listeners that don't know, again, Clinch MMA, dude, between like Ev Ting, who had one of the most insane fights I've ever seen.
Nuts, right?
That's one of the best comebacks in ONE history. Between like both the Subas and Ev and all of those guys that have passed through Clinch, like that fucking the team that has passed through those doors is just fucking incredible. Like all those guys,
man.
Ahmed and Teben and the Subas and Ev and like fuck, man, those are beasts.
It was crazy. So like, and when we started Clinch, it was like Ev. We had met Ev Ting through Legend because he was fighting at Legend, and we're like, oh, come stay, you know. So like, when I first met Ev Ting, I was late picking him up. Because I was like banging some chick and we had to use her car to pick her up. Yes. And Ev was sitting on the side like fuck, man. So like I brought him back to the house. Because you're banging
some chick.
So I mean it was funny. And then like man, Ev's another guy. He's like family and he
is so fucking chill. He came to Clinch. Like we all sat there and we drank together after training and like he was cool as shit.
You want to talk about guys who blow up after fights? My boy Ev Ting can get up to like 85 kilos.
Dude, he's got calves like fucking that, though, man. His legs are huge.
He fights at 77, right? He used to cut to 65 and fight.
Well, I think for probably his frame, because he's short.
Yeah.
I remember when they were talking about him fighting Eddie Alvarez in that tournament. I was like, fuck, man, because he's a little short for that weight class.
Yeah.
But his legs, though, man, are huge.
Bro, Ed's got tree trunks for legs. But back to like Clinch was amazing. So like. We had Watcher Chai, was an amazing Muay Thai coach.
Yeah, he was a coach at one of my old gyms,
like,
Trifecta.
We had Gianni Keanu, Prabhu, who is a MMA champ, Ayman, who fights in 1FC, who's also at Bali MMA. Amir Nasri would come by and spar, who's one of the best like Farang Muay Thai fighters in the world. He's won a couple Muay Thai belts in Thailand. And the talent there was just crazy. And then like one day Ehsan and Ahmed came in like, oh, we want to train. Da, da, da.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then like Ehsan ended up fighting, and then Ahmed ended up fighting, and then this little Indian movie star Teben came in.
Oh, dude.
Like, man.
And then you had guys like Kanobu. Shout out to Kanobu, one of the best breakdancers in the world.
Crazy, right?
Dude, that guy's a fucking legend, man. Like, Kanobu, shout out to you, man. He's killing the damn thing. The people that walked through those mats was insane. The talent that Chris and you guys had gathered was just fucking off the charts. And when I was there, you can feel it, man. You can feel it.
So it was crazy. Like, when we first started, like, we didn't have jiu-jitsu at our gym. So we were like, fuck gi. Like, we ain't doing that shit. Like, we're doing MMA, and we're going to be a wrestling school. Our mats had a wrestling circle, like Iowa Hawkeye style, big.
Yeah,
black,
I remember the old black mats. Yeah.
So we were like.
It's fucking depressing in there at night, bro. It was like. So as for the listeners, Matt and I worked at Clinch together. They brought me down, and I coached there for a year. And then Matt was there for a little while, and then he moved on to another gym. But it was fucking just insane. We met there, and the talent was just off the charts, just so I could catch people up with sort of how we met. And the place that we're talking about, Clinch MMA, was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And they were that, man, I fucking missed that gym. They ended up closing down. And when I found out that they closed, I got fucking depressed. Yeah. I had to leave. Like, I found out because my boy Shamir, who used to work there with me, shout out to you, Shamir, another fucking legend. Yeah. Shamir is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. He sent me a message and told me, and I was so upset, I had to leave and go on a walk. I was just like, nuts, fuck, man. I mean, I was happy there. I didn't want to leave, but, I had visa issues, and the visa issues forced me to leave. And then when I left, they didn't close down, and the whole thing just fucking depressed me because I love that place. Shout out to all those people, D and Habiba and Vlad. Yeah. I mean, Vlad.
That kid is amazing.
Vlad, if he wanted to, he's fucking 17 now. He could easily be one of the best prospects in Asia. Yeah. Russian kid, like fucking slick jiu-jitsu, really, really good Muay Thai. Maybe try to get Vlad on some fight. He was itching to fight when I left.
Yeah, I think just that gym was like a good family vibe. Like everyone was.
I was straight up depressed, dude, when that shit closed down. I wish I would have done anything I could have to keep that shit going.
Yeah, and it was so like when we first started, like when I was coaching at Clinch at first, there was no we had to work with Monarchy together. So like Samir would bring Agil on to Clinch and wrestle, and we didn't have jiu-jitsu, so we would go to Monarchy and we would cross train. So this was like a good it was a good at that time in Malaysia, it was a good it was just real good feeling. Everyone got good work in. Peter Davis was fighting at the time still, so he would drop by a couple times. And yeah, Malaysia, man, I think when you look at Southeast Asian countries, it's the most developed for MMA.
I think Singapore is the most developed technically, but Malaysia is going to catch them up. And I think that in my experience, Malaysians are generally scrappier. They're willing to go through a little bit more of a hell to get where they're going.
I just think when you look at the talent of fighters, how many guys are at the highest level, there's a lot more Malaysians fighting higher level guys in Singapore.
I think they're going to pass them for sure. I think the issue is that like in Singapore it attracts a lot more foreign coaches because the pay tends to be higher. So I mean, you get all the black belts from Brazil and all the Thais that they will pay a lot of money to.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think in terms of the fighters themselves, I mean, if you think of the Malaysian fighters, you have both the Subas. You got Ev. You got Aguilan, who's fighting
Yushin Okami.
He's fighting Yushin Okami, which is pretty fucking good fight.
Yeah, Aguilan, he can win that fight for sure.
I mean, Aguilan's a beast, dude. He's got really good wrestling. Another really nice guy.
Yeah, man. And, like, he took the time, man. He went and trained with Dan Henderson for a while. So, like, he's one of those guys who went out and, like, went to, like, seek information. So, like, man, yeah, the Malaysian. And then, like, Jiheen, the girl Jiheen, she's fantastic. The Shadow Cat.
I don't know. Oh, I've heard
and
the
1FC.
name.
Right. Watch her. She's fantastic. She's an amazing fighter. And, who else is there?
And those Mima shows, they're producing a lot more good talent.
Well, Mima's gone under since.
It's that tournament thing, man. That tournament thing ended up being ridiculous. I was coaching Ahmed when he won Mima, and like they would have to fight every couple weeks, and then people would drop out.
So
and then
you had the fifth one, correct? Ahmed won the fifth.
I coached through two of them because when he fought Aguilan was the first one. That was when I just started teaching.
That was sad, yeah, because he
just gassed out and got guillotined.
I mean, he was training at Juggernaut for a while, so like he came in the clinch in and out, but like he didn't really train seriously for that fight.
Yeah, no, I was his. I just started coaching at Trifecta as the wrestling coach, and he hadn't done any wrestling.
Yeah.
So in that fight, I mean, he was tuning him up on the feet, but he didn't have the wrestling training. And he was telling me that he was going down to Juggernaut to train, and they were just like fucking broing down and fighting in the sparring and shit like that.
Yeah, when he was there, like Sebastian Kadistan was there, the 1FC welterweight champ, and that guy is a fucking gorilla.
He told me that people in sparring were just full on fighting, and I was like, shit, man.
I mean, like there's people who are getting to MMA realize like Juggernaut is a boxing gym, and boxing sparring is not like MMA sparring.
Yeah, you're right.
Like they don't go in there to protect you and like hit soft. That's not how it works. And boxing sparring, you're going there to land and land hard, and that's just how it is. And that's like the environment that they kind of grew up under. So I mean, you look at guys like at Juggernaut now, like Raul, he's a fantastic guy. He's got good jiu-jitsu. When you look at guys who fought Gary Tonin in 1FC, Raul was giving him his toughest fight.
I know Raul well. He coached at Juggernaut. I was friends with him. I cornered actually Major with him when he fought Boku in one championship. So yeah, he would come and train with us. I think it was at Pure or somewhere. We were using the cage downtown, and Raul would come to the training sessions and stuff. Strong as shit.
Yeah, Raul's
strong as fuck.
Strong guy. He doesn't have any legs.
I can't believe he makes that weight. I don't know how the fuck he makes that weight class, man.
He's tall.
For people to
but he
say
has no legs. Like, one of the things about Raul, I make fun of him a lot. He got no legs. His leg is about the size of
a
this
stool,
microphone.
man. He's like fucking wide at the top and those skinny little legs.
I love you, Raul.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
Yeah, he's a man. And it's just like, I think one of the greatest things about coaching MMA, just like, and you can contest to this as well, is just the amount of people you meet that are like healthy, just the amount of like healthy people you make that like make your life better.
It's the best.
Yeah.
The community is what keeps, the skill set is what draws people in, and the community is what keeps them.
100%.
And in my experience, particularly in Singapore and also Malaysia, the community is so fucking good. Like, because the people here are chill. You don't get the same egos like in my experience I got in North American training, where it's like you would get the guys that would come in there and that they want to fucking fight and they didn't know how to control, and sometimes it would be hyper competitive to the point of detriment. Malaysia, everyone here, and in Singapore, it's like it's a technical skill. Everybody here is like smart and they're intelligent and they're learning the skills necessary to improve. And improvement is really the focus rather than like coming here and like trying to bro down and fight and all that kind of shit.
Bro, when I first went to Tiger Muay Thai, must have been like 2014. It was like that.
Yeah, I hear those stories.
You had to go in there, and man, Prabhu was preparing for IMMAF World Championships, the first one ever in Las Vegas, and he got knocked out in sparring by a Russian guy. Bro, like, he's an amateur fighter, and he's this pro guy, and he went and knocked Prabhu out, and it's just like, man, like cold, like it's vicious, and we're just like, man, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you can't have that.
Man, George Hickman and his brother Frank really kind of turned Tiger around. Like when I first got to Asia and Phuket on that soy, like Phuket top team was probably better gym, and now like Tiger's just engulfed the soy.
I mean, they have so many fighters now.
Man,
I have so many.
I was there for like
Volkanovski's there now. He's fighting Max Holloway. Shevchenko's there. Like they've got so many good guys now.
Man, it's crazy. So like George was a tryout winner in 2014. So like when I went there with my IMMAF guys from Malaysia, you had all these guys trying out. So like Shea Walsh, Alex Volkanovski, George Hickman. They are 2014, I believe that's the year, tryout winners. So when we were there training, they were trying out, and now now George is the coach, and like
I think Volkanovski is going to beat Max Holloway.
yeah, that's a tough fight.
It's a tough fight. I think he's going to win it though. I think it's stylistically.
Oh,
I think it's
I'm
Max
pulling
Holloway's
for Volk
toughest
for
fight.
sure. Like,
But I just think in terms of the tech, I mean, that guy is a fucking animal, man. That fight against Jose Aldo was insane. I can't believe
he's so strong.
I know. He
He's
used
so
to be a
strong.
fucking heavyweight or some shit, didn't he?
Well, he used to play rugby like front line, and he's got pictures online where Alex is like super fat.
But it wasn't like 80, 90 kg.
Oh, he was more than that.
I know
Yeah.
he's fucking fighting at featherweight.
Yeah.
How the fuck can he? Oh my god.
And the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Is it?
Alex is a fucking phenomenal guy. That's why I liked training at Tiger. Like when I was there, they had there's just so many nice people. Like Glenn Sparva is a super nice guy. Like Tai Tuivasa, all those big Australian guys.
He just had a pretty tough loss. I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needs to work on his grappling, man. He's the same thing over and over. You're at that level. Everybody knows not to throw with you. Your nickname's Bam Bam. Like, they're going to take you down, bro.
Yeah, he's had 2 Russians, I believe, back to back. And then, but just the training atmosphere now compared to when I first went to Tiger, the Hickman bros really just, they've made that place so enjoyable to train at.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
But I think people are starting to change their training philosophies now. You see a lot less of that just going.
Throw down. Yeah, there's no that old shootbox style where it's just let's bang it out, Wanderlei Silva.
Well, it's save your fights for the ring.
You don't get paid in practice.
That's
right. I 100% am going to have to, that's my philosophy is man, when you sparring, and sometimes it's fucking hard to get through my guys at Juggernaut, the guys I'm helping out with, they just want to throw the fuck down all the time. And I'm just man, who's paying you for this round? And they're huh? I'm you're not getting paid. Protect your partner.
Yeah,
you know?
protect your partner. That's the thing, because the people that are training are also, whoever the coach is, they're their students. And if they're just throwing down like that.
Student first, these guys are your paying members. You got to protect them.
Especially in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
I was telling my wife, we did a podcast a couple days ago, and I was explaining to her that, this is what the amateurs are for. Because if you're training with the sparring partners, nobody is ever going to go at you 100% like somebody will in a fight.
Yeah.
You'll
100%.
never match that level. Even if you're okay, fuck it, let's just throw it. You're still going to hold back a little bit, unless you're an asshole, right? Or unless your coach is
There are those people.
You will get that.
Yes,
but
100%.
still, the foreign person is still going to come at you in a way that your training partners won't, right?
Yes, 100%.
So that's what the amateurs are for. And I think you'll get people that will go with you hard, but you should never go, I think, above 70 or 80% in the training. If you want to go hard like that, that's what the amateur circuit is for, because you need to protect your sparring partner. You protect each other first.
Man.
And then if you want to feel what it's like and you want to really throw down, then we'll train you properly, and then you stare down somebody else who's also trained, and then that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you can have 50, 100 amateur fights if you want. And then if you want to go pro, you're going to be fucking ready.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
Man, there's people have this thing where, I need this X amount of amateur fights before I go pro. You go pro when you're fucking ready to go pro.
Yeah.
Everything is different. Some people, they peak earlier. They're ready to go earlier. Some people, they require more fights. And it's, up to the coach's discretion. But, there's no set number. That's why I said earlier in the podcast, man, take the fights. You get them, take them. It's experience.
Yeah, especially because, again, the amateurs, it's way lower risk. You're wearing those fat mushroom gloves.
For
You're in
sure.
shin pads. The referees know to stop it early.
There's no heel hooks?
There's no heel hook. They're trying to protect you.
Yeah.
So, it's relatively low risk, and you can have tons of amateur fights, and then you will know if you want to go pro. I wish that MMA fighters would use the amateurs like boxers do.
Yeah.
Where you can have hundreds of amateur fights, right? And then
Sure.
look at Lomachenko. How many amateur fights did he have before he went pro? And then he was a world champion in 10 fights or 7 fights or whatever it was.
Why do you think the reason that amateurs don't take so many fights in MMA is?
I think it's because it tends to be people who have a shorter sight. They're people want to call themselves a pro fighter. And I think that that's a short-sighted thing, whereas amateurs, especially high-level amateurs that are boxing for a long time, they see the pros as the end game.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of young MMA fighters want to be called pro fighters. And then that's why some of them will have none. I was talking to Steven Langdown. He was 19 years old. He trained for 6-8 months, took his first pro fight at 1FC without ever having a fight in his life in front of 10,000 people at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. That is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Because, listen, you can get fucked up in pro fights.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. You do that at your own risk. That is not the way it should be done. But opportunity to knock sometimes, and then, what are you going to do?
Yeah. But it's also, I think it's go back to, in my personal opinion, it's the weight cut. People are convinced that you have to cut an insidious amount of weight to fight MMA, and I just don't agree with it. Like, I feel like that's the reason why people don't fight so often is they think they have to cut 8 to 10 kilos, which is bullshit.
It's almost like this badge of honor, right? People are like, oh, I had to do this.
Badge of stupidity.
Jiu-jitsu people and MMA people love glorifying their weight cuts. They're like, oh, bro, I cut this much weight. I did this. I fucking ate vegan. I did whatever the fuck. I'm keto. I did. It's like, dude, like, what'd you do in the fight? Like,
Yeah, right.
That was way more important than like.
Skills pay the bills. I 100%, man. Your 8 kilo weight cut isn't going to give you an advantage over someone more skilled than you.
Yeah.
Especially at amateur.
Especially at amateur, right?
If someone is way more skilled, you cutting all that weight, it's going to slow you down. It's just going to fuck you up even more. So
cut a couple. I mean, you can cut the water weight, like lose
4 kilos max.
Yeah,
man. Like,
lose the sugar, like cut out the sugar, like lower the carbs, and fight at maybe like 2 or 3 kilos below what you weigh.
I mean,
that's it.
8.8 pounds is still even a lot. So 4 kilos, 2.2, 8.8. Even then, I feel is like so much weight. Like, imagine those guys that were fighting Mima that were fucking doing that. Like,
in Mima, you couldn't really cut much because they have that tournament structure. So you fight potentially 3 weeks later.
But see, that's the thing. People do cut.
Oh, they still were.
My friend Jace, one of my students who had like a 8-second knockout in One Warrior series, fastest knockout in One Warrior.
Jace, what's his last name?
Jace Law.
Jace Law, yeah. I follow him on Instagram or
JKO.
Like
Shout out to my boy Jace.
I saw that. Yeah, he starched that dude.
Man,
I saw that fight.
Jace has got some crazy hands. But, man, he was just like, man.
Jacked, too, man. Kid is jacked.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, he just does a lot of, like he lifts weights. Like, he lifts weights and he trains a lot. So I feel like that's the one thing that he does is, like, when I was there in Sarawak, I was like, man, you guys have to lift weights. They're like, oh, we're doing kettlebell. I'm like, man, you guys.
Strength and conditioning program, right?
I'm just like, yeah, man, fuck, you got to lift. Like, man, you're not fighting now in the summer. You got 6 months till you're fighting. Lift to get strong.
Yeah.
So he did, like, West Side barbell style stuff, like.
Mass.
We're looking to lift big. So Jace lifts, and he just gets big, man. And
got those genes.
Yeah, man. But, like, he was like, man, he fucking hated fighting in Mima because he would cut from 76 kilos and fight at 70, and he had to do that every month.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and he's just like, man, this is bullshit. Like, I'm like, bro, it is what it is.
But at least it keeps him somewhat close to the fight weight. If it had been like 3 or 4 months later, he might have ballooned up in between, and then even worse, kind of like Ev, and then.
Man, when Ev was not even signed, like when Legend went under, and we were trying to get him in one, man, he was like 85, 84 kilos, just walking around like
big boy. He's like 5'8" or something like that.
That guy can eat like no other, bro. That guy Ev-Ting can eat. Now speaking of one, I kind of like want to get back into one a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Like, what do you think of that Daggy Christian Lee fight?
We broke that down. I broke it down twice, actually, with Steven and with Ron.
Oh, shit.
I think Daggy wins the fight, to be honest. Because Christian, it depends. I think Christian stands a good chance of winning in the first round because he loves to blitz people, right? But he has trouble as time goes on in the fight. And Daggy's tough as fuck. And kudos to Christian for taking the fight because he's the champ. He didn't need to do that to just jump into the lightweight tournament. But it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because Christian Lee is talented. He's young. He's only going to get better. It just sort of depends on how he peaks and if he can relax more in fights because he comes out like a fucking bat out of hell in that first round and he gets a lot of first round finishes, but then you see if he fights someone like Martin, he has a tough, can't put him away as the fight progresses on.
Well, who's the only guy to beat Christian Lee on the feet was Keanu. Did you see that fight?
I did, yeah.
Man, Keanu's
smooth too. That's the good thing about him. He doesn't fucking force stuff. Yeah. He's smooth. He's really. I saw when he fought an old coach of mine, Almiro, Evolve coach. He fought him, beat him. Looks smooth, man. Yeah. Just buttery smooth. He's not forcing anything. He's not tense and tight.
And but like, I don't understand. Like, this is my personal like. People like harp so much on like Christian and Angela Lee, like, oh, they're not Singaporean and stuff. Dude, shut the fuck up. Like, who gives a rat's ass?
The problem isn't that. The problem is that Evolve markets them as Singaporean.
Okay.
That's the issue. It's not them.
No.
They're just
100,
fighting, right?
100%. Even how you market them. Like, what does having to be where they're from have to do with their skill set? Like,
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Christian Lee is phenomenal.
He's a beast, dude.
Like, he is. When you look at, like,
20
prospects.
years old. Oh, fuck.
Prospects in the world.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Man, both these guys are phenomenal. Now, I don't think both of them are the best in that division in one, but they're, man, fuck. Like, Christian Lee just How can you not have respect for that guy, like that kid? He's so young, so talented. And I have said this over and over again. If Christian Lee lands in the first minute, he'll put Dagi away.
Dude, if the first round,
He'll
Dagi's got to watch out.
He'll put him away.
For sure, anybody in one, anybody. I don't care if you're Eddie Alvarez, Edward Folayong, any of those guys. In the first round, Christian Lee is fucking dangerous.
And the other thing is if you watch Dagi when he fought Timothy.
And Angela Lee, too. Sorry to interrupt, but
she locks on a sub.
How can you not? She is fucking fierce, man. The scrambles, those 2 fights with Mei Yamaguchi, like, that is entertaining shit, man. She is a dog, dude. Like, I don't know how you can't give them props.
Yeah, I don't understand, like the amount of, like, oh, and then, like, people celebrate when they lose. Like, I don't like this, like,
it's
attitude.
the Evolve marketing machine. That's the only reason that people do
Everyone's
that.
like, oh, yeah, the real Singaporean. Man, shut the fuck up. What are you doing?
Exactly.
You're commenting from your couch. Shut the fuck up.
But that's the only reason that people shit talk them. It's just because Evolve goes on about them being Singaporean and Singaporean and Singaporean. The locals get I wish they would just call them like they are, and then it wouldn't be an issue.
They fucking train in Hawaii.
I know.
Man, how many good fighters come from Hawaii?
So many.
I mean, speaking of, in my opinion, the best fighter in ONE FC is Hawaiian.
Who?
Is Lowen Tainanez.
He pulled out. That's unfortunate.
Well, he got
that lightweight Grand Prix. It ended up being kind of a bummer because they just got plagued with injury bugs. They tried to finish everything for the New Year's show, and then in that time, Lowen had to pull out.
Well, did you see what
Eddie
happened?
Alvarez had to pull out.
Like, Lowen Tainanez got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease.
Is that what it was?
One that attacks his joints.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so, I mean, prayers to that guy. Talk about, like, man, this guy in his second pro fight went and fought Edward Folayong and absolutely massacred him.
Yeah, he's a huge prospect, too, man.
Oh,
he's a
God.
huge prospect.
I cornered him when he fought Vusi Kalasa. That's still one of the best fights I think I've ever seen live. Man, it was nuts. Like, Vusi, if you don't know, is like an amazing Muay Thai guy. And it's like Lowen's third pro fight.
Because Lowen beat Amir in the first round, right? Amir Khan.
No, he beat Hanario.
Oh, he beat Hanario. Who beat? Oh, it was Dagi. Was it Dagi that beat?
No,
Amir?
Dagi beat Ev.
Fuck, who the hell beat Amir?
Ariel Sexton. He had to pull out, too.
That's the other one. That was the other one that pulled
Man,
out.
but that Grand Prix was so cool because, like, everyone can beat everyone, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that was a great. But the problem is, when you have a goal in mind and people fall out, you can't rebook stuff because everybody got injured and they want to finish it by that end of the year show or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, I mean, they did the right thing. It's like, okay, when Lowen had to pull out, who do you put? You got to put Benario into fight because that was his opponent that he beat.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, even that doesn't look like the good thing to do or whatever. That's what you got to do.
I mean, they stuffed good people back in there, but you kind of just wish
That it developed.
that they could have. Yeah, because even Christian Lee, right? He's jumping into the finals and he didn't fight anybody throughout the tournament. It's not his fault. And again,
I wish they would have just honestly, like, if I was Chatri, I would have given Dagi the belt. And when they face off, you got the Grand Prix winner versus the ONE FC lightweight champion.
Yeah.
And you fight for an undisputed title at ONE FC 100. I think it just looks better. I think.
Yeah, just make it a title fight now.
Well, that, and it's also like you don't want to celebrate Christian Lee getting the Grand Prix belt when he didn't
Go through the tournament.
the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially with the guys that were in that fucking
yeah, I
tournament.
mean, it's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Eddie Alvarez, Dagi, Timothy. Timothy's another.
Ariel Sexton.
I mean,
Ev
you want to talk about
Markov.
prospects. How about Timothy Nastukin, man? I mean, that guy's a fucking savage. He beat Amir. He beat Eddie Alvarez in the first round. Fucking starched him, dude.
Yeah, the thing with Timothy is like, I feel like he'll have trouble with guys on the ground. Like, when he fought Herbert Burns, Herbert subbed him in like 1 minute.
Yeah.
But Timothy's a killer. Like, if he lands any of his hands, you're going to sleep.
Yeah, and those, but that submission defense, he'll improve that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and Herbert Burns is a world-class guy.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. No, I've trained with Herbert.
Yeah, he's a
fuck my life.
And how
up,
good
dude.
is his no-gi? Oh, my God.
He fucked
His wrestling
my
is
shit
phenomenal.
up. He actually competed against one of my old coaches. Italo Lins is one of my old coaches. He's a EDCC trials winner. He's like, you can look him up on BJJ Heroes. He's one of my old coaches in Singapore, and they competed in gi and no-gi, and they both had beat each other. And if you beat Italo in jiu-jitsu, you're a fucking master.
Yeah.
So, and I rolled with him when I used to train at Evolve. Fucked my life up.
Yeah.
He is a beast, man.
For
Now he's
sure.
fighting in UFC.
Yeah, he got on the Dana White Contender Series and ended up
And
winning.
his brother, Gilbert Burns, just beat Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah, fuck.
Another fucking jiu-jitsu savage. The Burnses are beasts, man.
Yeah, how about, what's his face, Adolfo Vera?
Yeah, there's another one. Another GF team guy, Adolfo. He's going to have some tough fights coming up pretty soon, though.
He's at middleweight.
Yeah. He's going to have to see how those hands develop.
Yeah, man, it's MMA is so
lit right now, dude.
yeah, there's so much stuff going on, and like that's the thing is like, man, in my opinion, like Chatri is a genius. Like, he went out and there was no market for like the world's best kickboxers.
Oh, yeah. The best thing one ever did was just say, fuck the rules, fuck the gloves, fuck whatever style. Like, we'll do every fight. We'll put them in a ring. We'll have different gloves. We don't give a shit. We'll just do whatever.
Well, how exciting is the One Warrior stuff with, like, the small gloves?
Oh, I know. Or the Grand Prix. Fuck, man. They're bringing these Thais in who nobody knows, these Lumpini champions, and having them fight.
Rod Tang.
Rotang, man. Oh, my God. That fight. And how about Jonathan Haggerty? That guy is a fucking killer.
Who was it? Liam Harrison had a fucking amazing fight with the Thai guy.
Yeah, he lost just a couple months ago to one of the Thais.
Yeah, but did you see that fight?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude.
Bro, Liam like almost kicked this guy's leg off, and he
Yeah.
just like smiled at him.
Yeah.
And, like,
But Rotang in that fight with Jonathan Haggerty, man.
yeah, that was a sick fight.
Dude, he was teeping him. He was staying long. And then, like, second round, Rotang was like, I don't give a fuck. He started wading through those teeps and just going like Mike Tyson, dude. Like, he was throwing boxing hand combinations, a tie. And then I found out after he beat Haggerty, he fought again in Lumpini like a month later.
Yeah.
And then he came back and he's fighting again next week or next 2 weeks or something like that.
He fought. I think it was I don't know if I'm right or not, but I want to say it's like the Rajadam Stadium title, and it was a crazy fight, and he still won. Like, the guy's a savage.
And these Thais don't give a fuck. They'll fight every month. Like, they're used to it. So.
Yeah, and it's also like, man, yeah, like the One Warrior stuff is amazing. Like the Grand Prix with the guy like actually not winning the fight.
Yeah.
And like Giorgio Petrosian.
I kind of talked shit about that in the last podcast.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like.
Because do you think that should have been overturned? You
Okay.
think Pet should have advanced?
Let me ask you.
Okay.
If we bet on this fight, and I'm going to take my friend John Nutt's analogy here. If we bet on this
John
fight.
Nutt, hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. We do the Mima shows together.
I'd love to get him on the podcast. He's so funny. He was the commentator and stuff when I fought and a bunch of different shows.
He's fucking nuts. His last name is
he's insane. He's literally insane.
He's an amazing guy, though. And so me and John will always talk about this. So let's say we're gambling. You have $1,000 on what was it? Pech Morikai?
Pech Morikai, yeah.
And I have $1,000 on Giorgio Petrosian. Whose hand did they raise first? Pech Morikai.
Yeah.
I give you $1,000. When they overturn, are you going to give me my $1,000 back?
Yeah, I know.
No, of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
So, I mean, like, at the end of the day, I was just happy that we got to see both of them fight again. But I also feel bad because, man, $1 million for the winner?
Yeah.
If you fucking make that and you're in Thailand, dude,
I heard
it's life-changing.
I heard they paid Pet Morikai well for the rematch, but
They had to have. Like,
but it's not $1 million US, dude.
It ain't $1 million
It's
US
not $1 million
dollars, bro.
I'll tell you that right now.
You know what $1 million US dollars gets you in
For
Thailand?
a Thai fighter, oh my God,
Dude, it makes you like, whew.
Yeah, I don't think they should have overturned that.
No. I agree with you.
Pech Morikai should have advanced, and then after the fight, they do a rematch or whatever.
But that's why I love Chatri. That guy has some fucking balls on
give a
him.
fuck, dude.
He's like, man, I saw the judging and fuck it was shit. Like, I don't agree with it.
And he called it. The board of directors decided to overturn it. Oh, the board of directors called Chatri. Decided.
Chatri's like, we're running this shit back, and everyone got mad, and I was just like, man, that's dope as fuck. Imagine.
Because he's a gangster dealer, dude,
bro.
like a businessman.
I know everyone hates Chatri. Like, a lot of people don't like him, but I have a lot of respect for the guy.
I mean, he's a businessman, too.
Man, look what he's fucking done.
Yeah, I
like,
know. It's insane.
regardless if you hate Evolve or whatever, man, that guy has built ONE FC into, they say, the largest. And I could be drinking the Kool-Aid right now.
Yeah.
They could be like, oh,
I mean, there was definitely some Kool-Aid there, but as time goes on, it's becoming more and more true.
Bro, I watch every ONE FC fight on the ONE FC app.
Listen, man.
I don't know. If there's a fight, I don't ever not tune in.
Yeah.
Fuck, I watch that shit.
No, you have to give him all of the respect because, this just goes to show you the potential that existed in Asia that nobody had managed to tap into.
Oh, everyone stayed in Japan. Everyone stayed in Korea. And Chachi's like, fuck that. We're going to Southeast Asia mode.
Exactly.
And he's like, man, fuck. Now look at the fights, man. I mean.
And for the people that are listening that don't really know, basically, the best thing that they ever did was decide to diversify all of their shit, right? Like, if you go to the UFC, it's MMA, it's 4-ounce gloves, that's it. One decided to say, fuck all of that. They're going to bring in kickboxing. They're going to bring in Muay Thai. They're going to do grappling super fights. They're going to do MMA fights. They're going to do kickboxing and MMA gloves. They're going to do MMA fights in rings. They're going to do MMA fights in a cage. They will just fucking do everything. And what that does is it allows them to manipulate the rule sets to make certain bouts more intriguing. Like, okay, cool. These two guys are fighting each other. Let's bring in a Thai, have them fight a Western fighter. Okay, cool. Let's also have them do it in 4-ounce gloves. Oh, and maybe we'll have them do it in a cage also. And you're just like, What the fuck? Like, this is amazing.
So they were like, Liam Harrison, when he first fought and won, he was wearing big gloves. And I'm just like, man, I would love to see this guy. If you know who Liam Harrison is, he's just, you watch his fights.
One of the best
You're excited, man.
Fighters.
Man, he's one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
And you watch this guy fight, and you're just like, man, holy shit. 4-ounce gloves. Let's fucking
And he doesn't
go.
give a fuck at all.
Take my fucking money right now. Man, I was like, I know like when one initially said they were going to TNT, people were saying that the one app would cost like money to download. Motherfucker, I will walk my ass to 7-Eleven, get an iTunes gift card, and pay for that shit.
Yeah, it was $5,
Man,
$4.99,
$5, $1,
fuck.
fuck. Why would you not buy it?
Yeah.
It's free fights, man, and like high-level fights. And in our area, there are probably people you know.
And it's on YouTube as well.
Right.
It's on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
They just post it on
man,
fucking YouTube.
Fuck, it's great. And like the card coming up has some really good fights.
I mean, it's like 6 hours of insane fights back to back.
Look what Chatri did. He got Shuto and Pancrase, who are rival promotions in Japan, the longest running promotions in Japan, and their champions are fucking fighting each other in one.
I know.
How
It's insane.
fucking mental is that?
And you want to know another stroke of genius on Chatri? He's also investing in esports. Have you seen this?
Man.
The one
Yeah,
esports.
Dota. They're doing a Dota thing.
I mean, listen, esports is going to become one of the most lucrative sports, if you use that word. One of the most lucrative. More people watch fucking the Dota finals than the goddamn World Cup or whatever the fuck it was, like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was fucking
Imagine
nuts.
in 10 years. I mean, that guy is thinking ahead because investing all of that time into one, and he doesn't give a shit about video games, but he sees the potential that exists, and he's like, okay, I'm going to invest my time and my energy in this. So now we have one championship fighting. You have the one Super Series. You've got the not the K1, the Grand Prix. Then you have the one fucking esports shit that they're starting to push heavily.
I would love to see Chatri do one championship boxing. One championship. They did one fight.
Yeah, they did one fight.
They did one. But like kind of how PBC
Well, because
does.
Pacquiao is an investor, right?
Well, that, and just because like PBC does in the U.S. So you got all these different boxing organizations that like governing bodies that you have to fight for those belts. But as a company, you can just bring those fights in. And I think like, man, if you got like, imagine you bringing in some like high level like talent like just for boxing
From the Philippines or from Thailand
or just
from
fucking anywhere, man.
Yeah.
Like, man, I think like. That would be the next move if I was him.
or even a jiu-jitsu competition in a fucking cage.
Well, they did do.
They did a little bit super fights, but I'm talking
no, they did.
make it the one world championships at fucking.
They did one grappling challenge in Macau. They did this before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
They did the one grappling challenge.
Well, that was when Angela fought Michelle Nicolini,
Yes.
right? And that,
yeah, Bruninho fought Aoki, and they did that once. And the thing is like, I mean, if I was Chatri and I saw jiu-jitsu, I think jiu-jitsu is good, but like,
it's not as much money in that, I would say.
Not as wide a group of people are gonna like watch jiu-jitsu. Now, if you do like ADCC style in the cage,
Yeah, once a year, dude,
fuck,
and you just
awesome.
you put on some
just do like, man, this is the thing with jiu-jitsu.
an open weight jiu-jitsu tournament.
You
Fuck
can do it all in one
10,000
fucking night.
US to win.
You can, no, 10,000, bro. You can fucking 100,000.
Dude, 10,000 US and the jiu-jitsu competitor is going to fly in. Like, that's big money
Bro,
for
you
jiu-jitsu.
can do like Buchecha, Gordon Ryan, Felipe Pena, Andre Galvo, JT Torres.
Yeah, put 50K on the line.
You put
100K,
50,000
whatever,
US
dude.
on the line, and you do it one night. Fuck,
Yeah.
you can do that in between every fight you do. Fucking
Yeah, exactly.
10 minutes. Fuck, dude, man. I think like the thing is with like jiu-jitsu is he's probably just like, man, I have to do with all these jiu-jitsu like guys in the gym, and I'm just like fucking can't handle this
Yeah,
shit. You
no,
know?
I heard.
Dude,
Dude, you want to hear a story?
He's probably like, Chachi's like, man, do I want to do jiu-jitsu? And then he goes back. He's like, man, I got to deal with all these fuckers at him. Oh, fuck this.
Dude, I'll tell you a hilarious story, right? So I was, you know, we're at Horse City, and there's a Brazilian churrasco just down the road. You know what churrasco is? It's like that Brazilian place.
Steakhouse, they just bring
Yeah.
you the meat. and-
Unlimited meat, right? You
Yes.
just pay $50 or whatever, and they don't stop until you're fucking dead, full of meat, and fucking farting,
Awesome.
stinky meat farts, right?
Yeah, until you can't waddle.
And
you know, fuck.
so they brought Buchecha in to do a seminar at Evolve. And, you know, they often go there because it's the Brazilian place, and they know all the owners and shit are Brazilian. So they bring the Brazilians in, and they go there. And one of my business partners is fucking hilarious, right? He has a video of his son, who at the time was like 4 or 5 years old. He trains jiu-jitsu with me. They have a video of his son just talking shit to Buchecha, and he recorded it. And the dad's egging him on. He's like, what are you gonna tell Buchecha when he sees? He's like, oh, I'm gonna tap you out. I'm gonna beat you one day. I'm gonna come in. 5 years old, just talking shit to Buchecha, and he recorded it. This was years ago. So they found out that Buchecha was going to be at the Churrasco. So my business partner goes, and they take his son. They're like, okay, we're going to go meet him and show him this video. It'll be hilarious, right? Because now he's like 6 or something.
Yeah.
Like, look at this video of my son. He trains jiu-jitsu over here at Stronghold. And they told me that Chaudhry and like 30 people were there because after the seminar, they were going to go and have this big thing there. And Chaudhry was there with his wife and all these people. And fucking Buchecha was like an hour and a half late going to this meeting. And Zozo, my business partner, is sitting there trying to talk with his son. To wait for him, and he said that like everybody just looks so pissed. Like, you don't make Chaudhry wait a fucking hour and a half on your ass while his wife was there, all these people were there, an hour and a half they made him wait. Just that Brazilian shit, right?
Fuck, man. And it's just like,
and they must have been paying him bank, bro, and then to just sit there for like an hour and a half while you wait for this dude to show up in Singapore. Like, punctuality is huge here.
I mean,
right?
it's just disrespectful.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
I know.
I don't know what happened. So
Especially the pay that they would have been giving this guy. They would have flown him in. They would have, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Given him a cut of the seminars, like, and
let's-
to make him wait an hour and a half, a guy that's got a lot of shit to do.
How good is it that like Gordon Ryan won the ADCC?
He looked like a fucking savage, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's just interesting. Like with jiu-jitsu is like, this is the thing like I divulge into a lot. It's like Raul teaches BJJ at Juggernaut, and he's a purple belt, but I think he's brown. He's gonna get his brown soon, but he's good. Like,
yeah, I've rolled with him.
he's good. He's well talented, but like you get these guys that hire BJJ coaches to teach MMA, and it's just like, what the fuck are you fucking doing, bro? Like, a BJJ black belt does not make you an MMA coach.
Yeah.
You got to have some type of wrestling experience.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
It's like,
Could not agree more.
some guys are just like, they're unbelievable in the gi, and I'm not disrespect. I love jiu-jitsu. I love no gi grappling. The gi is fun, but I feel like sometimes people use the gi as like, oh, I don't want to roll no gi because like I only roll gi. Like, fuck off, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Nope. I actually think it's one of the, and you've seen this over and over again with the Evolve guys. It's a stylistic weakness that I think that they have at Evolve. I mean, I trained there for 2 years. Is that the two styles there are jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. I mean, they brought like Heath Sims used to work at Evolve, and actually
He still does.
He's awesome.
He
I
just
had
came back.
Oh, did he?
Heath is back now.
But
and
even
he's
still,
amazing.
they have some weaknesses in their style because almost all of their MMA fighters are Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. And what happens is the kicking game is different in MMA than it is in Muay Thai, and the grappling game is different in the gi than it is in no gi and in wrestling.
Oh, 100%.
And even when they had Heath there, I mean, we invited him to Thanksgiving dinner one time with like some friends, and he fucking turned up. He was awesome, man. Like, he's a really, really cool guy.
Heath is one of the nicest guys ever too.
But
Wow.
but there is a stylistic weakness there. You can't kick the same way when the wrestling is involved. You can't. So the kicking is different, and then also the grappling. You just can't play guard. If you're even like Angela, right? She's got that jiu-jitsu grappling style. She's scrambly. She has good clinching, but she really doesn't shoot.
Well, let's just be honest. There's a big disparity gap between women's MMA and men's MMA when it comes to the actual level of it.
Yeah. Well, it's getting there. It's
Yeah,
growing.
it's
but
growing,
for sure, there's a
100%,
huge
but, like,
disparity. No question.
Man, it's like back in the day, you could pull guard at MMA and finish people. Like, Angela's kind of doing that still now. Man, you can't do that you can't do that in men's MMA.
Well, you see, for example, a great example of this, right? Like Angela Lee when she fought Michelle Nicolini, and then look at Michelle when she fought Tiffany Teo.
Yeah.
Because Angela was willing. I mean, she had a terrible game plan going into that fight. It's like she was getting into the jiu-jitsu scenarios with Michelle. Why are you doing that? Wrestle. Like, she would sweep her, get on top, and then she would go right back into the guard. Like, why are you playing that game with Michelle Nicolini? But then you see Tiffany Teo, she stays long. She uses her wrestling. She uses her length.
Yeah.
And she uses her sprawl and brawl. And when she's on top, she'll stay in the conservative positions, but she'll back out if she needs to. And you would see Angela would finally have success. Like, she spent most of the time in Michelle's closed guard. Why are you playing closed guard with Michelle Nicolini? Get the fuck out of there. When you have a chance to stand up and back out, stand up and back out. Don't play with that style. It's a disaster waiting to happen. She can beat her in MMA-specific areas, but you're going to go into the closed guard of a world champ. Like, she opened the guard, she managed to get, and she dived back in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a terrible.
Maybe she was trying to prove something because the build-up to that fight was all just Michelle Nicolini submitted her, and it was just
But then she played that game.
and then, yeah, she lost. I mean,
Why are you playing that game? And then you see in the third round, she started to have some success because she was doing more MMA-style grappling.
Yeah, man.
But, she had dug herself too big of a hole at that point, and you're just like, God, you just wish she had had a better game plan because she could win that fight. And I think if they fight again, she will win. But that was just, I think that was a poor game plan because I think she has the skill set to beat Michelle for sure.
And
Tiffany had the right game plan to when she fought her.
I think Tiffany versus Angela would be interesting.
Yeah, me too. Because I think Tiffany will play an MMA fight. She'll try to sprawl and brawl and use her weight and use her wrestling. And she's not going to engage in that kind of jiu-jitsu specific stuff. With
that being said, she's got no shot at being Zhang Jinan. She got no shot at beating the
Angela or Tiffany?
Got no chance.
I mean, her striking is just fucking devastating. I was watching the fight.
She hits like a man.
No, she backs people. Like, you watch Angela and her fight. Angela's striking is to usually set up her scrambles and her grappling, but she couldn't back Panda up. Like when Panda was landing shots, you could see that they were backing Angela up. Like they were showstoppers. Whereas Angela's more functional, right? She's poking you. She's touching you up to try to transition and get into scrambles and submit you. But Zhang Jingnan, when she hit she fucking backed her up, and you just see that liver shot. Was it kick? Yeah. Liver kick? I can't remember if it was a punch or a punch. But the liver shot.
Yeah, whatever hit her with.
Whatever it was. Oh, dude. And she saw in that fourth round, she hit it, and she saw it, and she just went after it, man.
I've heard stories that Jingnan has literally not finished an opponent to piss her manager off on purpose.
What?
Yeah, ex-manager.
Really?
I've heard this story from a very credible source that she literally didn't finish a fight to piss her ex-manager off, and then went out in the second round and knocked the girl out.
Oh my God.
Man, she's such a man.
Well, you want to talk about women's MMA? How about the Chinese fighters? Now you have Zhang Weili, who's the UFC champion now, and then you have Zhang Jingnan, the one championship. The Chinese women, they're the ones that are coming to the forefront of Chinese martial art, of MMA, more so than even the men.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's just like when you look at that division of women's MMA, the one Zhang Weili won, man, I don't think anyone beats Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah, that's. I don't disagree with you. I think she's the next champ.
Oh my God, she's so tall.
That
and
wrestling,
long,
that
and her wrestling
style
is phenomenal. Jesus.
But, dude, that division is fucking interesting now. Between Joanna and Andrade and Zhang Weili and Rose. I mean, dude, remember Dana White talking shit for what we're saying about the women's MMA not being developed?
It's the best women's weight class, in my opinion.
It's fucking good, dude. It's fucking good.
All the 135-pound women are old now.
And then Amanda Nunes is just destroying everybody, making it look easy.
I think her and Jermaine Durandamy is going to be closer than people think.
I think so too. Stylistic.
Man, Jermaine Durandamy is huge. You see her knock out that girl in the last fight?
You see her knock out that guy?
Yeah.
Did you see that shit?
Man, that's crazy. And
everyone just kind of shits on her because she didn't want to fight Cyborg, but that's, she won the UFC title and then vacated without a single defense because she wouldn't want to. So people kind of shit on her, but I totally agree with you. She's a live dog in that fight with Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting money on Jermaine Durandamy.
Dude, her right hand, she's got a piston of a right cross, dude.
And it's just also the fall from grace for Cyborg.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. First of all, you lose in 40 seconds, and then you don't want a rematch, and you leave.
How
can you call yourself the baddest woman in the world anymore? You can't. You lose that title. It's gone for good.
I can't make heads or tails whether she wanted the rematch or not. It's because Dana says she didn't, and then she says she does, and then...
At the end of the day, she has to say yes. Yeah. If Dana White is willing to put on the fight, no matter what the numbers are or whatever.
I feel like Dana would put the fight on.
Oh, 100%.
Sure. He's a promoter. All he wants to do is sell fights, and I feel like if...
Well, and the other thing is, who wouldn't want to see that rematch?
Yeah, I would.
Right?
Sure.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
So as a promoter, Dana White's probably licking his chops. And I bet Cyborg wanted a lot more than what they were offering. But at the end of the day...
She probably wanted more than Amanda Nunes is getting. And they're like, dude, fuck you.
You're not the champ.
Yeah.
You're not the champ anymore. And it is what it is, but I mean...
Now she's going to go fight Bellator or something like that.
Yeah, she's fighting Bellator.
They're going to give her a bunch of cans or something.
At the end of the day, who gives a fuck, right?
I mean, Amanda Nunes is the GOAT now, no matter what. Cyborg had to get that fight to keep her status, right? For her legacy, she needed that. Because now Amanda Nunes is universally the GOAT of female MMA.
Until she loses. I mean, her and Shevchenko had 2 close fights, split decisions. But
I thought Shevchenko actually won the second fight.
Yeah. Tough fight to call. I don't know.
It was. I mean, either person. Yeah. You can make an argument for either person.
And then
she's another Tiger Muay Thai.
Yeah,
Shevchenko.
Man. She's nice. Good fighter. Crazy stand up.
Yeah.
Very aggressive. Man, her last
Tough as-
knockout was
oh my
unbelievable.
God. That shit sounded like snapping a baseball bat in half.
She hit her with like the good old fashioned go low, go high. Like
Shin bone to the head.
yeah. Oh my God.
It seriously sounded like the sound of like taking a bat and cracking it in half with your
Right.
knee.
So vicious. So let's say we got the one championship fights coming up, and the UFC. What UFC fight are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I was looking forward to the Adesanya Whitaker fight. I did end up looking out because I couldn't wait. Everybody was talking shit. It was all over the group chats. I saw that Adesanya won that fight. I was really looking forward to that one. Now, moving up to the end of the year.
Colby Usman, let's go. Let's go.
Dude, I'm MAGA all the way. No, I'm just kidding.
Big drama show.
I don't know, man. I think Usman wins because they have a similar style, but I think Usman's got more stopping power in his hands.
I don't know, like, I think Usman wins too, but like, I would love to see
Colby gets a bad rap.
I would just like to see him win.
It's the drama will be insane, dude.
He would call George Masvidal out, bro.
Yeah, that would be a sick fight.
If Colby Covington wins, man, Usman needs to retire. Like,
yeah, exactly.
like,
All that shit talk.
you'll never live it down, and like you'll never get a shot back.
Yeah.
Like
Hard to, yeah. Well, what about, so you have the Colby.
Holloway, Volkanovski.
I think Volkanovski wins that fight, man. And then a better one, I think Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, dude.
Yes.
The BMF title.
I want to see what it looks like. I'm like,
I know, I wanna
I'm
see it.
so like ready to see Dana White just come out and be like, here it is, and The Rock is presenting it.
I know.
Fucking cool, man.
They never created like a
Dude,
secondary.
he went WWE on the UFC. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna fucking do this shit. And I'm like, I'm down with it, man. Like,
Yeah,
let's
fuck
fucking
yeah,
do
dude.
it.
It just increases the intrigue. Like Jorge Masvidal is flying high right now. Nate Diaz is just gangster as fuck.
I think Masvidal wins that fight.
I think Diaz wins.
I
I think he's bigger. I think he uses his length a bit better.
Yeah, but Masvidal just got crazy stopping power. In his
Yeah,
hand.
that's true.
Man,
but
he
Diaz
knocked out
doesn't.
Darren Till.
But Diaz doesn't get stopped almost ever, except a head kick by
Josh
Thompson.
And Josh Thompson's a fucking man. He's one of the guys that I've always said was underrated.
Yeah.
I thought he beat Benson Henderson.
There were points in his life, I think, where he was the best lightweight in the world.
Yeah.
He had. Remember when he beat Gilbert Melendez? Probably at that point, you could make an argument that he was the best lightweight in the world.
Yeah. I think Masvidal wins. Man.
You think he finishes him?
Yeah.
Really?
TKOs.
Shit, man. That's a bold prediction.
Man, Masvidal has so many fights against so many high-level guys.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's got
even every time he loses, barely. It's like split decisions.
he's got like 6 split decision losses at lightweight.
I know.
Like, what? Crazy.
Yeah, he has bad luck when it comes to those decisions, man. I don't know why.
And then, like, the other thing is, like, okay, let's talk, like, just UFC best division. Where is it at? Lightweight, obviously.
I could make an argument middleweight, I think, now.
Can
Historically,
you, though?
Historically, it's lightweight.
Let's look at lightweight. Who you got? Let's look at the middleweight. Top 5. Who you got? You have
Adesanya, Whitaker, Costa, Yoel Romero.
and Gastelum.
Sure. Yeah. But you could have thrown Weidman and Luke Rockhold back in the day. You could have thrown them in
Yeah,
there.
Weidman's, I think, and that's the weird thing is, like, I thought Weidman should have went up in weight after he lost to Rockhold. He cut so much weight. He's
Yeah.
a big man. He used to wrestle at 197.
Yeah.
Man, he beat Phil Davis in wrestling. Which
Really?
is unbelievable.
Oh, shit.
Man, Weidman was a killer at
And his
Hustler.
grappling is just fucking insane, man.
Oh.
But then you see Luke Rockhold mount him and smash him like that, and then you realize how good Luke Rockhold is. He looks pretty bad lately, but
Man, yeah, I think he just fights retarded. Like,
yeah, I'll say middleweight or lightweight. So what do you think about lightweight?
so we got lightweight. Who we got? We got Khabib, Ferguson,
Dude, I cannot wait for that
Gaethje.
shit. I know, yeah. Poirier.
Yeah, I've always been hit or miss with Dustin. He never comes through in the big fights, with
Except
the exception
Holloway.
of Holloway.
Yeah.
Which I thought that fight was closer than the judges scored it.
I thought it was closer.
49-46.
Me too, but I definitely thought Poirier won.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought Holloway won the last 3 rounds. Though.
Really? I just think just in terms of damage.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think you can make an argument that Holloway touched him more,
Yeah, for sure.
but the difference in the effect that the punches and kicks had, I think, was the difference maker. Poirier clearly had more stopping power, I thought.
Oh, no, 100%. And then who else is that lightweight? Man, I'm telling you.
Edson Barboza, Al Iaquinta,
Dan Hooker.
who did he win? I didn't see the result of that.
Yeah, he won decision. He looked phenomenal.
Dude,
but
I mean, he's tough as fuck.
I'm telling
dude.
everybody, and I will go on record first, the toughest guy at lightweight is Gregor Gillespie. He's fighting Kevin Lee.
His fucking takedowns, dude. He's like Khabib, man. He is relentless. I watched that last fight of his.
NCAA wrestling champion.
Oh my God, he chains wrestling together, unlike anybody except Khabib.
Who is the NCAA champion in the UFC
Nowadays?
wrestling?
Well, I mean, there were several, like Khabib and Koscheck, or not Khabib, Phil Davis, who you were just talking about. But nowadays, I don't know if there's any champions.
Gregor Gillespie.
Did he win?
No, he's fighting Kevin Lee on.
No. I mean, did he win the national title?
Yeah.
Okay.
He won at Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Which is the same place Koscheck wrestled at.
Yeah. Gillespie is an absolute freak.
And he does not stop chain wrestling. He is just
you
always
go to
on you.
Gregor Gillespie, you follow him, Gregor the Gift on Instagram. Look at his strength and conditioning videos.
Oh my God, it's
You're gonna be
insane.
like, what the fuck?
Well, for him to wrestle like that, I mean, I can't remember who he fought in his last fight. I watched it, but he
It
was
was
just.
the Hawaiian guy.
Yancy Medeiros. Is that
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Bro, he just.
He imagine him and Khabib, dude.
Bro, he's fighting Kevin Lee next, which is a good fight because
Yeah, that's
Kevin
a good
Lee's
fight.
got pretty good wrestling.
Yeah.
But man,
But his striking remains a complete mystery. Other than volume.
do you have to strike? Like, look at Khabib.
No,
He's
you
striking
don't.
shit.
You don't.
And I think Gregor is a better wrestler than Khabib. And it's like, man, like the thing I've always said is,
But
like,
Khabib's probably a better striker.
yeah, I think so.
And probably a better finisher in terms of submissions.
Gregor's on a 5-fight
but-
winning streak.
but-
Just finishes.
He finished. He didn't finish Medeiros.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Around TKO.
Huh?
Or
I thought he
submission.
decisioned him.
No.
I can't remember.
No, Gregor's had like 5 stoppages.
I
in
mean,
a
there's
row.
no question he's a fucking
Man,
savage.
it was so funny. They're like, Dan Hooker, who do you want to fight next? Like before this fight, in the top 10, who doesn't have a fight? And they're like, I think they were like Cowboy, Iaquinta, and Gillespie. Man, you don't want to fight Gregor Gillespie.
No,
when
that
you got
is-
some momentum. It's not a good fight.
That's one of those fights. Like, there's a few people no one wants to fight. Tony Ferguson, Gregor Gillespie, only because they're fucking mentally insane. Like, you can't fight crazy, right? And these people are so fucking crazy that best case scenario, even if you win, you are in for some hell on earth when you're in there, dude. Like,
The best fight that could be made in MMA right now, like not for belts, just for like viewership, is Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson.
oh my God, the pandemonium,
That's
dude.
the best fight you can make in MMA right now.
That's pandemonium,
Can
dude.
you make a better fight?
That's up there, dude, for sure. There's no question that that's one of the most insane fights ever.
I mean, if I'm looking at like,
What about Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson? That would be another one where it would be like,
yeah, but
just dogs, dude. 2 dogs just fucking killing each other. No quit in them. Like, you may win the battle. Like, sometimes the Diaz brothers get decisioned and shit. But even when they decision you, they're going to flip you. If you beat them, they're going to flip you off, say, fuck you. And they're like, they want to go 10 more rounds.
But have you seen that meme of Tony Ferguson and the guys that he fight? They all get fucked up.
Yeah.
They're all like bloodied up. It's horrible.
Even like Kevin Lee, right? He on his back, he's like, I will butcher you from the bottom. And he fucking does. Like, take him down. Cool. Here's 100 elbows in a triangle.
with his arm to the outside.
Yeah, I know. And then you see, like, he's got that Darce, and he's fucking crazy. You can see when he fights that.
Look at his Instagram. This motherfucker,
champ shit only, baby.
he just kicks metal poles. Like, he's just like, what are you doing? He's like, traditioning. I'm just like, fuck. I think Ferguson beats Khabib.
Do you?
Yeah. I think
stylistically it's tough. It's a tough matchup for Tony Ferguson.
if Ferguson.
I hope he does.
I
to be
think if
honest.
Ferguson goes forward.
He deserves so much more respect than he gets, man. Like, he's a guy that's got fucked over in some ways more than
11
anybody.
fight win streak.
I know. And then won the interim title before Khabib won the title. He's a bit like Colby, too, who's gotten a bad rap because he won the interim championship, never lost. And then apparently the sticking point for him fighting Usman was that he wanted championship pay, and they didn't want to give it to him. I guess they decided to give it to him afterward, but it's like, he deserves it, man. He won the interim title, never lost, fought since then.
That's Dana's fault for giving Usman the title. Colby should have fought Woodley first.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure, because he
yeah.
was the interim champ. Same
And then-
thing with Tony Ferguson.
Ferguson
as soon
got
as he was
hurt.
healthy, he
Yeah.
should have gotten the title shot.
But man, fuck. Ferguson versus Gaethje.
That's
Let's
just
fucking go.
crazy, dude.
Man, Gaethje you want to talk about guys who can beat Khabib.
Most entertaining fighter of all time.
Bro, I don't want to see George St. Pierre fight Khabib.
I do, but for a different
He's
reason.
too old. He's
for a
too
different
old.
reason.
He's too old. Like, man, I want to see Justin Gaethje go out there and like. The thing is
Justin Gaethje and Jorge Masvidal. Fuck. That would be they're different divisions, but they fought in the same division before.
That guy Gaethje just goes out there and fucking starches you.
Yeah,
the Edson Barbosa. Even
he gives the least amount of fucks of any person I've ever seen fight in my life.
The two fights he lost because he was reckless, but he was winning those fights.
Yeah, Poirier and
Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez couldn't even fucking walk.
Yeah.
He was like,
The problem with Gaethje, though, is he does the kickboxing style guard. He doesn't move, and he blocks everything.
Well, he changed. The last 3 fights, he's looked good. Like, man, when he fought.
But quick finishes, it's kind of hard to tell, right? Like, if you finish people in the first round or whatever, it's kind of hard to say.
Like, when he fought Barboza, man, he was cutting angles. He didn't go in, like, balls up. He kind of took his time, and then he feinted him with the right hand and then threw over the top and
caught him.
Who knocks Edson Barboza out like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, he knocked him the fuck out.
I mean, the last 3 fights, he's just looked insane. You kind of wish he would work on his head movement because with those small gloves, if you do the shell.
But does he need that to fight Khabib?
Probably not. Not Khabib.
Yeah.
He's definitely crazy enough to, I mean.
Man, to beat Khabib, you got to fight him within that inner octagon.
Yeah.
You fight him in the inner octagon.
But I think you need footwork to beat Khabib.
I agree with this, but I also think, like, the problem is with, like, Dustin, the fights that Khabib wins a lot in, you can't be on your back foot fighting a guy like that.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
You got to force him to shoot in the middle of the cage.
Yeah, you're right about that.
That's when Iaquinta stuffed a lot of his single legs because he forced him to shoot in the middle of the cage.
Yeah, you're 100% right, I think, about that.
Man, you take a shot like that on Gregor Gillespie, you're going to take your back.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is, like, Khabib, when he shoots his single leg, he'll, like, dive and run you into the cage. Man, like, even when he fought Conor, his first shot on Conor, he was head outside single, and Conor almost got his back.
Well, that's why Conor had some success, I feel like, in that fight, particularly the third round, because he walked straight forward, which a lot of people criticized him for, but I think it was actually the good move.
No, I agree too. But, like, the very first shot Khabib took in that Conor McGregor fight was in the center of the cage, and Conor stuffed it at first. Khabib ended up scrambling to get back on top, but when he stuffed it and he went to ride off his back, tried half crab, bro. If you take that shot on a Ferguson or a Gillespie or someone who can even Gaethje's an All-American.
Yeah, for sure. You never see it, but
yeah, I mean,
do you think Conor could beat Khabib? Do you think Conor could?
Conor,
if they have a rematch,
you don't have the gas tank.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
The difference between
the more money you make is equal proportional to how less your gas tank gets.
This is the thing with like Gaethje is like, bro, Gaethje has had so many 5-round fights.
Or Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson as well. But man, Gaethje in World Series of Fighting, he had so many 5-rounders. Like, he had like 4 or 5 5-round fights, and he would finish them in the 4th round or whatever. But he was never gassed. Yeah. He has that gas tank. Him and Ferguson, and that's where I see Khabib losing is in the championship rounds against the guy.
And historically, compared to the earlier parts, he does fade a little bit. You can't really question Khabib's cardio because he doesn't gas, but like anyone in the 5th round. But Tony Ferguson speeds up. The 4th round, he's going to put more pressure on you in the first every time without question. You can fucking count it on your clock. Well, mark your watch to it.
Did you see when Khabib, if you guys want to see a good fight, look when Khabib fought Gleison Tibau.
Yeah.
He didn't take him down once.
Yeah, that was his toughest fight in the UFC.
It was a split decision.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, why? Because Tibau, strong as fuck for one, and second.
I mean, that guy's like 200 pounds fighting at lightweight, though.
You want to talk about a guy who pisses green, like Hulk green.
Yeah, dude.
It's Gleison Tibau and Borocina.
Yeah, Gleison Tibau doesn't get a lot of credit, but he beat Dos Anjos. He had that split decision with Khabib. Like, that guy's beat some really, really high-quality dudes.
I mean, he's out of the UFC now.
But he's another guy who pissed green, literally. Like, I think he did pop for steroids. Costa looks like a type that pissed, but I don't think he's ever popped for steroids.
Nah, but...
And you know that USADA's knocking on his door a lot.
He's going to fight next for the title for sure because they flew him out.
I think he'll beat Adesanya. That Romero fight blew my mind. He was taking those shots. He did not give a fuck. He was walking them down. Like, I think Costa's got the right style to beat Adesanya.
Like, the thing with Adesanya is, if you calculate and try and strike with him, he's going to pick you apart. With the exception if he fights John Jones.
That was the stylistic. I actually picked Adesanya to beat Whitaker because I thought stylistically, I think Whitaker could beat Costa. I think he stylistically can defeat more people in the top 5 than Adesanya can. But because you got Yoel, you got Costa, you got those fucking heavy-handed brutes that will put forward pressure on Adesanya, keep him on the back foot.
I mean, fucking Gastelum, that fight was razor close.
Because Adesanya, he stays at range. If you do that like Whitaker did, right, where he'll play you in that long range style, he'll fuck you up. But if you can stay on him like Romero, I think would, and like Costa would, I think those people beat Adesanya for sure, not for sure. The potential exists.
Fuck. The thing with Adesanya is, he will take the jab to the face and like the look to throw over, like. And when you got a guy who's as big as you are, the shit don't work.
Yeah.
I mean, Whitaker, people forget Whitaker came up from welterweight.
Yeah.
He got knocked out by Wonderboy and came up. Gastelum too. He coming up.
Came up from welterweight. Yeah.
I mean, he just eats too much, you know. But you're looking at the real middleweight guys.
The huge ass fucking middleweights that are cutting down.
Yeah, he's got some. I mean,
Costa's insane.
He's lucky.
Dude.
Adesanya's lucky. He didn't come into middleweight like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Weidman and Rockhold were like, man, Weidman is a fucking huge guy.
Yeah. And Rockhold too. Oh my God, that fight at 205, he looked huge.
Yeah, these guys are huge. And yeah, I think Adesanya can knock like anyone out.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he can, but like, I don't understand his reasoning behind calling John Jones out. He won't win that fight.
No, he won't win that fight. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I don't think he's better anywhere.
Bro.
And the size disadvantage of the wrestling.
John Jones only gets fucked up because he allows himself to get ego and fight on the feet.
Because he tries to beat everybody at their strength.
Yeah, but it's like, man.
Which is insane.
Yeah, and he wins. He's undefeated. He's never lost.
Yeah.
And you look at look what he did to Gustafsson in the rematch.
What did you think about, sorry to digress a little bit, what did you think about the Thiago Santos fight?
Yeah, man, it was close. But I mean, like, when did John Jones take a shot?
Yeah, not really. He didn't take much.
Well, I mean,
Thiago was fucked up. Both of his knees were jacked. Like,
I liked the fight, but like, I didn't think Thiago won. I thought it was close, but I didn't think he won.
Yeah, I also didn't.
I think if Weidman does a good job, fights Dominic Reyes, I think he can give John Jones problems.
I think he stands a better chance than
you got to put John Jones on his back.
Yeah.
And Adesanya is not the guy to do that.
No, for sure he's not. But I don't know if anybody can, because his MMA wrestling Jones's MMA wrestling is just off the chain. No. Has anyone ever put him on his back? Has he ever been taken? He got taken down for a second by Gustafsson and for a second by DC, but I don't think anyone's ever held him down for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's why like Weidman is interesting, because Chris will be the guy to like try
and he's got the submission skills to.
His grappling is great.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Is just his jiu-jitsu is insane, and he's obviously got the wrestling background.
As long as he's not an idiot.
Wrestled at Clemson or something, right?
Weidman, Hofstra.
Yeah, Hofstra, that's what it was.
Yeah. Hofstra. Yeah, I mean, fuck. That's a good fight. Like,
I wouldn't mind seeing the Weidman Rockhold rematch at light heavyweight.
We'll see. I think Rockhold's done.
Yeah, I think he's done too.
Gotten starched in his last couple fights.
That left hook, man. He cannot stop that left hook to save his life.
It's like you would think you would work on that after getting fucking starched like that multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, all his coaches should be doing is working on keeping his right hand under his ear.
Bisping said it in the post-fight.
Yeah.
He was like, man, we see when you kick, you drop your right hand. So left hook, baby, boom.
Speaking of Bisping, oh my God. Did you see the eye? Oh my God. He fucking, for those of you who don't know, go look at it if you want to be grossed out. He literally just stuck his thumb underneath of his eye and popped out his fucking prosthetic eye.
That's pretty fucking cool, though.
It was cool that did you see him on the Joe Rogan podcast? He was kind of mum's the word. He mentioned that he had a prosthetic eye, but you could tell he didn't really want to say it, but I think now he's just coming to terms with it. He fucking popped it out. Literally, Wugong, this guy, middleweight champion, won the middleweight title with one fucking eyeball, and just recently, like 2 days ago, showed everybody on his podcast, he stuck his thumb underneath it, popped his fucking eyeball out of his head, and was like, look at that shit! And I was like, oh! I was watching it, and I was just
I thought fucking Bisping was going to kick this shit out of Yair Rodriguez. Did you see that?
That was fucking... He's
a fucking idiot.
He's a guy that was once considered one of the most entertaining and loved fighters, and then since 6 months, you've seen some bratish behavior of his. And
I was so happy when Frankie Edgar beat the shit out of him.
Up until that point, I thought he was okay. But then you see him like talking shit about Zabit. They cut him, and then he started talking shit about the UFC. Then they brought him back, and then after the Jeremy Stevens thing, people were just like,
man, it's just
enough's
like,
enough,
okay,
dude.
You committed a foul, and you're angry at the guy who can't open his eyes.
Like you
for
were
the
one,
foul that you committed.
I know.
What does that make sense? Oh, I could see after the Frankie Edgar thing. Bro, you didn't poke Frankie Edgar in the eye. And Frankie didn't poke you in the eye. He just fucked you up.
He hit you. Yeah, and then your eye swelled up.
This is different.
I mean, I can't believe you would even...
Bro, I've gotten touched barely in wrestling. Guy went to heavy hand me.
Rake you.
Yeah, he raked me. And bro, you need the time to, like, your eye will spasm.
Yeah, you literally can't open your eye.
Yeah, it's nuts. And it's just like, he was like talking shit like, oh, only he knows. What do you mean only he knows? Bro, you committed the foul.
Yeah, everybody
Fuck
can see.
You. Like,
there's no way Jeremy Stevens is faking that shit. No, it was 10 seconds.
Like 35 fights in the UFC.
And it was 10 seconds into the fight. Like, he's not gassed. He's not like trying to catch his breath.
The fight. Like,
nothing happened.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that was, I think he's going to be a pretty big not underdog. He might still be the favorite in the fight, but I think a lot of people are going to hope he loses that fight to Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens is the dog, bro.
He will get booed. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He will fucking get booed. It's crazy.
That's good stuff, man. I think we're going to wrap up this podcast. Wugong's got to take off here before too long. But, Matt, this was fucking awesome, man. Right, man. Dude, we should do this again.
Yeah.
This was the most, like, straight-up MMA talk that we've had. We just sit there and fucking went on and off 2 hours of just straight MMA talk.
Bro, I love talking. That's why the voiceover work.
Listen, man, this is the reason I wanted to start this podcast because, especially for Asian MMA in particular, I don't know of anybody that's doing this.
Yeah, man.
And there's a huge market here for one, and I feel like if we keep churning out the guests, people start to know of the podcast. We bring in people who can speak specifically about Asian MMA, but Singapore, Southeast Asian MMA in particular.
Oh, you should do one where like. We watch the 1FC fight while it's going.
Yeah, like some fight companion. Yeah, a couple people have said that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'll let you know, man. And if you have anyone that would be good, you think would be interested in doing the podcast, hit me up and let me know.
For sure,
because we're gonna get my mixer, and then we can start to do maybe 3 or 4 people on the podcast at once.
Well, when Gianni comes, I think he would be a good guy to do.
For sure, I'd love to.
He comes to Singapore a lot because he has to do the commentary.
So the Subas, for sure. You have an open invitation anytime you want. You come on the podcast, please.
Gianni does the commentary for like the One Hero stuff that's in Beijing, and he also does the One Warrior. So like if we can slot up a time to get him in.
Fuck yeah. And we can do both. We can do everybody. We can just sit here and talk shit about MMA and get drunk and whatever.
When FC is coming in November, we can easily get some guys.
Oh yeah, just around the corner. Yeah. And then also UFC on Singapore is coming pretty soon too. So that's another one we can maybe get together for. I think I'm going to go to that fight, but Askren and Damian Maia, that's good shit.
Yeah. Fucking Ben Askren. You had one job.
He had one job.
You had one job, bro.
He had one job, which was to shoot a double leg, and he didn't set it up at all, and that was the problem.
Bro, like Ben Askren got so like lazy because he would just walk into takedowns.
His instinct is just like, okay, same side, brings his head to the same side every time.
That, and it's like look at his back, flat.
Yeah.
Your coach ever bitch you out in wrestling for shooting like that?
Yeah.
Bro. That's what happens when you just fucking maul people forever.
Yeah. But, I mean, the stories about him in the gym just fucking everybody up is insane,
yeah.
Ben Askren.
Yeah, he's fucking killer. Bro, that guy, he did a wrestling seminar at my high school when he was, like, the shit in college. And, bro, like, you go with him, and, like, he's so this is when he was, like, at Missouri, like, just leaving.
And especially for the folk style of wrestling. I mean, if there were folk style Olympics, he would fuck everybody up because he's so good at mat returning and so good at riding people. And
well, I mean, that's the thing is he exposes his back, and that's why he like wasn't very good at freestyle. He still made the fucking Olympics.
Yeah, I know. Just with and he's got that crazy style and.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. Ben's crazy, man.
All right, dude. Well, let's do this again. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. This is Stronghold Podcast number 7. We're in the books. Thank you so much, Matt. Guys, Matt, give your fucking information if people want to follow you.
Guys, Baby Cat Attack on Instagram. Be wary of the amount of pictures I post of me and my girlfriend, but there's some good content on there if you like wrestling takedown techniques and such.
Cool. And if you want to follow me, Lucas Leisure, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. All right, everybody. This is Stronghold Podcast in the books. Wugong. Thank you, buddy.
Go on Spotify. Right. Look.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.